So, good afternoon, everybody. We'd like to introduce our WS Sync API integration suite. So, one of the things we'd like to offer is finally being able to connect your WS Display B2B account with your store. We have a few methods of doing that, and primarily we're going to go ahead and start off by showcasing our Shopify app. So, along with that, we also do have custom API integration tools, and we'll go through there. So, as you know, one of the key benefits you get from having a kind of integrated solution with either the Shopify app or an API integration is simplifying the B2B ordering process. Now, again, as many of you have kind of notated, is having the orders get placed by your end user on your store, and then having your sales reps or you personally logging into WS Display, finding those items, putting together the order, and placing it. This is time that can be saved by having it automatically sync over in from your back end, sending the data over to WS Display and having the order created ahead of time for you, saving you kind of effort and time needed to enter in every single order. Along with that, we also have pricing updates. So a lot of the information that WS Display has on its products, images, templates, spec sheets, as well as any of the pricing updates that come through will be automatically synced to your store, alleviating some of that discrepancy that can come from having outdated systems or doing any of these processes manually. On top of that, we do also support the graphic uploading process for that. And one of the ways that we can connect today, we'll go ahead and showcase off the Shopify app. This is going to be for merchants or store owners that don't have access to a technical team. This is going to be very simple. You go in through the existing Shopify marketplace and simply install the WS Display WSD Sync app, and it goes ahead and takes care of a lot of the heavy lifting and configuration for you. It's very point and click, and we'll go ahead and show demonstrations of that as we progress through this webinar. And the second one that we have at the moment is underlying everything is we actually use a REST API to handle a lot of the data communications back and forth between WS Display and your store. So this is more for teams that have access to in-house developers or they use third-party developer teams. They'll be more familiar with using the REST API directly. Now, the benefits from that is if you aren't on Shopify, the API integration would work with any platform that allows you to do that, or even if you have a custom built tech stack for your store, that's how you would connect through WS Display. So we'll go ahead and pause here. As you can see, this is one of the dashboards that we'll go into in depth in just a moment. But as you can see, it gives you a few settings to kind of control how you access your site, right? The orders either directly syncing or a manual process into WS Display. If you still want a bit more control and oversee your orders, you can go ahead and either set those to be automatically or doing in the manual process. We also support the artwork upload and proof sheet approvals. Very similar to how you have on WS Display, we mimic a lot of that behavior through the Shopify app. On top of that, we do have the live stock updates and pricing pushed directly to your storefront, so it simplifies your need of having to keep up-to-date information for these products. Tracking numbers and order updates are also supported through this app, and feedback tracking as soon as the fulfillments go out from WS Display, those populate back into your store, and then any presets you may have configured in your Shopify store will trigger and then notify your customers as well. So this kind of prevents some of that back and forth and just copying over data or asking for tracking numbers. These will go be in sync at that point. And then we'll go over a bit here as well as the API. If you don't have Shopify as well, we have the RESTful endpoints. We do have documentation for all of that. So if you have developers, they'll be more familiar with this process. But again, just sending the raw data back and forth from our system to yours. Now, at the moment, we did launch the beta for the REST API and the WS Sync, but we do have planned other platforms such as WooCommerce, Magento, and any other custom integration based on feedback. Then if you're interested here after this webinar, we are asking people to join the beta. You will already see the sign up forms in the My Account section. You'll see the request the app on there, and it'll also have a quick questionnaire to fill out, a little form. You'll get notified, and then we'll set up a consultation with our team here to make sure that we give you the best tailored fit for your application. So you'll see that already when you log into your website, and you'll see that. Any further questions, you'll go ahead and navigate. You can email web at WS Display. So let's go ahead and take a little closer in-depth look at the actual application itself and what it offers. And let's go and navigate there now. So my name is Will. I'm one of the lead developers here at WS Display. Along with us today is Sarah Cole, who's the project lead on this project, and will answer any of the questions. She'll be monitoring the Q&A as well as any additional information we can fill in there with us. So let's go ahead and get started in here. So for starters, this is how it looks like when you first install the app. WS Display just carries over your exact same information that you have there. So if you already have Net 30 set up with WS Display, those same terms apply. So you don't have to worry about payment. All that gets handled through Shopify and your end user. And then everything just simply gets paid on your Net 30 account. For customers that don't have Net 30, we do also support pay as you go. So you would simply, the orders would sync over naturally and be kind of in a pending status. You would then log into WS Display and simply do your payment. It does save you having to do the order entry portion and already sends your art information. So a little bit less automatic, but it still has all the core features and still saves you time from having to enter those in or any discrepancies on shipping methods. And then separately, when you go ahead and install this app, you will just set up an additional account for the WS Sync app. This is separate to your login for WS Display, and this is merely used to just track your status and whether you've been approved and set up for using this integration. And we'll go into some of the steps here. So installing straight from your Shopify store. Again, this app will be listed through the Shopify marketplace. At the moment, it is a private app. So after we do the consultation, we'll go ahead and provide access to that app and kind of walk you through some of the setup process. It does support, we did design this with the basic plan. So a lot of the features that you see in Shopify, we use a lot of the native fields that already exist. Now, there is a few caveats with that. For example, bulk pricing or any other additional plugins you may already have on your Shopify store. Those should still work independently and will require you to kind of configure that to work a bit with our system or, extend on that. But your core overall Shopify store, you are in control. This is your store. So all the marketing, all the themes and all that, the store owner would still be the one to set up. And let's go ahead and see kind of what this looks like installing on here. We'll go through a quick video. You'll see how it installs, and it's all point and click. So again, the Shopify app is for non-technical users. So it's very point and click, very similar to the Shopify instance. It does set up all the underground fields that you need, such as meta fields for products, templates, spec sheets, and then just goes through a bit of the setup process of connecting your existing WS account to your WS Display Sync account. So we'll go through there. Now, when you are actually connected to the Shopify app, one of the main core features that you have is either if you have an existing store or a brand new store, it does allow for product imports. So we have our product catalog in here. We have over 250 WS Display products already offered through the app. Now, this includes all the variants for those familiar with our site and our matrix products, where you have one product page and multiple options within that page that kind of change the underlying SKU. It does go ahead and create that using Shopify's native variant products. So while it is 250 over 250 products, when you actually take the variants into account, it's over 2,000 different SKUs that get imported through the Shopify app. Now, one of the options that it does ask you when you go and import in here is we do give you the option to already mark up your pricing, also change the SKUs or keep ours, as well as already making this published and available on your store for your end users. So it does pull in all the source information that we use on WS Display, images, and any of the templates and spec sheets. Those are brought over. Most of these are already sanitized for removing any of the branding from WS Display, and most of them have the templates in that you're akin to having our downloadable ones, which are kind of blind label. So if you have any concerns with that, most of this has already been vetted through, and that's why our product listing will grow as time goes on. We like to take the time to kind of clean those up and make sure that there's no discrepancy with WS Display being inadvertently being displayed on your site. Now, the beauty of this is because this is done through the native products on Shopify, you are able to also support selling products that are non-WS Display. The app does kind of recognize that and filter throughout those products and only kind of does the functionalities related to the WS Display products if it finds those key identifiers on there. So again, you not just limited to only selling WS, you can sell other products from other vendors. So moving on, we'll go ahead and see how this kind of looks in action. So we'll go through and you can select all the items that you're looking for. In this case, you can do a bulk update. The more you do on there, obviously this process will take slightly longer as it is importing images and there's quite a bit of them at that. So on the right hand side, you'll see the import settings. Again, the setting the pricing, either using choosing to set the pricing at 0, use a base price and just letting it, essentially the price that you'll see on WS Display, or setting a set markup all the way up here. In this demonstration, you can see it says markup 30%. You can also do a few rounding in case you want to make it a little bit cleaner. You can either round a few different options there, or you set a profit margin based on your settings. Again, this is for all the products you currently have selected during this import process. So you can do it in batches if you, for example, like to do a specific markup on one product line and not the other. You can adjust that as needed. Moving on, then we have the second question, which is setting the SKUs. You can keep the WS Display SKUs if you have no preference in regards to that, or you can leave the SKUs blank and then you can fill them in later in case you like to use your own SKUs for your store. Lastly, the last question asked on here is the publishing method. So for those of you familiar with Shopify, is you can publish later for you to review it before your end user see, or you can decide to hit publish now, in which case, as soon as the import is completed, these items will be purchasable on your store. So again, limiting that time. A lot of the focus here is making it so even small teams can quickly get up and running, set up a store with WS products, and be up and running in a few minutes. So as you can see here, the import begins. It's running through and you'll see the processes up at the beginning as well as any failures to do so. And then this is the view that you'll see once you're in your product catalog. These will just fill in naturally inside the Shopify's admin product page, and then filling in all the information that's required as well as some meta fields in there. Now, with that, we also have the pricing stocks. And as you see here, it's a little bit to look at here, but it did go ahead and create in this specific case, the silver step we're looking at. It did create the graphic package, 45-inch silver, right? Giving you those variants all controlled from one master product. You'll only see one product page and you'll see the native buttons on the site that like the customer kind of choose in between. Now, it did go ahead and link the stock updates for each one of our warehouses, which is something that gets created during the installation phase. We do list the warehouses and their available quantities. And here you kind of see a mocked out value of 100 in the California warehouse, right? And then the other warehouses will kind of show 0 stock, kind of indicating and preventing any of the stock from being out at a location, and also helps with the shipping quotes. So now your site is aware. Again, Shopify does give you the shipping rules in there, so it does see where the next available warehouse is depending on your shipping destination. And again, you have full control over that. So if you have a different way you'd like to quote out your customers, it is supported through the app. A lot of this is, again, defaulting back to the native features within Shopify. Now, this is what it looks like on the storefront pages. If you did go ahead and hit publish now, these immediately populate into your existing product categories that you have, and you can choose to move these around different collections as you so choose to. But they are ready to go with all the base descriptions that we find on WS Display themselves. So product photos, variant options, detailed product descriptions, the spec sheets, and even the file upload templates. Now, one of the things that also gets supported through this app is the addition of our quick proof system. So when you go ahead and install this, your existing theme will allow you to enable one of the blocks. For those of you familiar with Shopify, this kind of just extends your existing theme. It won't modify or break anything. It simply adds on to your existing product page. You'll see the artwork file uploader appear on your product page. Now, this is dependent on the variant SKUs. So as you jump through, you'll kind of see the download template and the spec sheet. This is still relative to the SKU that's selected underneath. So if you were to select single-sided or double, if the template does change, so will that template that is available there for download. And the uploads are directly connected to our quick proof system. So again, mirrored out exactly how we have on WS Display. You additionally have that feature on your site and being able to capture that artwork. Again, the upload process still similar to WS Display. We try to keep everything as similar to make sure that you're aware of how to use it and being familiar with it will make things faster. It does go ahead and see here. We uploaded a template which was the wrong file. The end user would already see that their file size would be incorrect. So again, limiting how much work your team actually has to do if we're already file checking the artwork from the end user at the moment that they're trying to place the order. And then we'll go ahead and mock this out as well as uploading the correct template on here. And we'll mock that out and enter that in as well, asking how many times to print it. Again, very similar to WS Display's existing process. And we'll submit that, give it a few seconds for it to upload, and the customer should see a successful upload image once that completes. So file uploaded successfully. Now that goes, customer can now go ahead and add to cart, and the link to that file gets saved along with any other information that they may have entered during the upload process, and the customer can then complete their checkout. Now, this will appear now in your admin portal. You will be able to see the details of this order as well as the original downloadable files that the customer uploaded. That way, you always have control of the original files as well as any of the proof sheets that come back afterwards. You're kind of in full control depending on your setup. Some customers like to handle artwork completely for the end users, while some would prefer the end users to provide their own artwork ready to the template and simply just pass that along to WS Display. So both of those processes are supported through the app. You can also check out without any artwork and then upload after the fact. We do go ahead and add that to the admin portal to allow you to control that. So now we get to the one of the main portions of the Shopify app, which is the order sync process. So as soon as the order gets completed through your Shopify store, it'll appear on your admin portal and it fires off hooks sending the information directly to your WS Display account and places it on there. Now, again, if you have Net 30, the account will be identical on there. So if you were to log into your WS Display account, you would already see it as if you had placed it on WS Display itself. You can see that by the second image on the right. If you look over there, you'll see the sales order was created. And on the left-hand side, you see what that looks like within Shopify. So again, a lot of the native fields are still here. You will see that meta fields get added as part of the syncing app. You'll see your WS Display order ID number as well as your sales order and the day that the transaction occurred. So we see 6/23/26 on here and our SO number on here. So again, all this is built in within Shopify. This is all the native fields, and we simply append a few other data on there. Now, at the very bottom of the order screen, you will see an app block that appears here. Now, this gives you a quick little overview into more information regarding the syncing process. You'll notice that the WS Display order sync appears at the bottom, signifying that this specific order was synced and its current order status relative to WS Display, and it's in the status of graphic proof sent. Many of you are familiar with this. This is once we receive your artwork and we create the proofs, they get emailed to you as the store owner, and now we're just waiting for your approval, right? So you're able to see any information on there, you have any of the SOs, and this again allows you, especially for getting up to speed, allows you to kind of double check, right? You have your sales order number, you get some confirmations of when we received it, and at any point, if you have any questions or concerns, our customer service team would be able to kind of troubleshoot that with you as well because you have your sales order number. Or again, if you just want to log into WS Display at the beginning and double check that all the fields came through exactly as you intended, and just kind of give you that peace of mind of making sure that that sync is working there. And as the order progresses, you will get order updates through there. There is settings for this in the admin page. So as it goes through the various steps, you'll keep getting notified of any changes with your order. Now, at the moment, the Shopify app for any kind of those changes that occur once the order gets placed will still be handled through our customer service. It isn't automatic through the app at the moment. So obviously these kind of either changes to the order numbers, right? Canceling or upgrading your shipping methods. All those you would still handle through our customer service manually through those processes. We still wanted to be a little more hands-on at this point before we offer the automatic portion. But we do have plans in mind here to have a quick email, right? So summarizing your email on here at a click of a button and sending over a email automatically to our customer service with all the order details to again simplify that time it takes from the back and forth that you typically get with emails with, which is right, asking for sales order numbers, shipping information and all that. All the information will get bundled up together and sent over to our team to kind of help reduce the amount of time it takes to sort any issues that may come with your order. So let's go ahead and take a look at this process here. This is showcasing some of the features that you can have on here. So product imports, as well as the stock updates. You can either set it automatically or again set a manual trigger so that you're fully in control of all the orders that come in. And you also have login in case you want to see whether any order had issues with it or if they all successfully synced. You also get access into all the orders into your WS display account. If it did not originate within Shopify, you can still view them on there. But obviously, since they weren't originating from your Shopify store, they won't exist in your Shopify admin orders, but you will see them appear here, as well as any pending order status, as well as tracking numbers, shipping confirmation, in-hand dates, and then the expected ship dates. Right. So again, a lot of the information that you're used to either logging into WS Display or having to call into our customer service to confirm, the moment those transactions do sync, you have that all available directly in your Shopify portal. So again, reducing the amount of time that you need to be going back and forth with WS Display. So now let's go ahead and talk about graphic uploads. After an order is synced, you can view and manage your customers' graphic files all in one place. The uploads go directly from the storefront, and the uploaded files are directly sent to us while we do copies of the originals. And we do allow you to manage the graphic approvals through the app's graphic page. So if they checked out without any graphics or they were missing quantities on there, say it's a large quantity and they only submitted half the the quantity required, you would see the same notifications you're used to seeing in WS Display. You can also approve and reject the graphics. Now, this communication here, there is a bit of here. Some customers prefer to approve and reject the customers on behalf of the customers, and others will still email the end user, get their approval, and then simply come in and approve for them, right? So it does support both of those processes depending on what you use in your store. And again, we give you the original artwork as well as the proofs in case you would like to formulate your own email, right? Make it to your branding. You can pass that along and fit your needs on there. So let's go ahead and move over here to an example of that working. Again, we've seen this in the previous template where you go ahead and upload any information you may have. Your template gets checked and they add to cart, and then you have a view similar to how you have in WS Display, where again, you have the simple uploader. Again, this is directly in Shopify on your admin page. You can go ahead and see all the information of what product it is, where the templates are. You can see the download template up on the right, as well as all the information that you're used to seeing on WS Display, the file types, any notes, and adjust and delete any files that may come with that. So we'll continue here. You'll see the files uploaded successfully. And here's an option of approving and rejecting the artwork, right? Again, these pages should seem very familiar to you. It's the way we currently have them on WS Display. It has all the informations, and you'll also see the buttons on the right-hand side with information regarding your order, the product it is, the SKUs, quantities, and then the original files on the right for you to review. This is directly on the store admin side, so we do not communicate with the end user. It's up to the store owner to kind of use their process that they have in place. You can trigger automatic emails with your existing Shopify notifications to then get those proofs out there, or if you reach out personally, you would go through that portion. Now, our orders do get fulfilled throughout the day. It runs at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Typically, that's about the time that we have the majority of our trucks leave the warehouse. So at that point, UPS tracking numbers are generated and available for your order, as well as you've already still received the default emails that you get from WS Display letting you know your order has been fulfilled. And again, just kind of updates all the tracking information, making it visible in the Shopify store. And we also fill in the native fields within Shopify. So what that means is all the emails that you already have that notify your customer that the order's been fulfilled, we simply fill in the same tracking number, and that essentially goes directly to your end user, notifying them right away when a fulfillment has been made. Now, this can be changed again, and you can also request to refresh it. So if you're kind of monitoring a more critical order, you can keep refreshing. If you want to get constant updates without having to call in, right? You would just hit the button, it would refresh, kind of gives you a timestamp there, and it proceeds in that manner. And you can also go in individual orders and then request updates in for that specific order, or simply just let it kind of sync through all the orders that you have in a day and kind of updates your entire storefront from there. Now, the same thing that we have for orders exists for products. Now, throughout the day, we do have a daily sync where it runs at 11 a.m., kind of gets the updated current totals for any of the stocks and sets in and out of stock for whichever location may have ran out of product. On top of that, we do also update any item related fields such as weight, pricing, or any of the metadata such as templates, spec sheets, or any other data that's kind of relevant to processing these orders. Now, when we update price, it's very important to kind of make the distinction. We update the cost of the item in your Shopify store. So the price that the end user is still seeing is still one that's controlled by you. You can either choose to keep your existing markup, or you would make that decision to then go ahead and update the pricing that your end user has. So we do update the cost on there so you can see what the most current WS display price is, and you can make that decision. Shopify does already natively show you your profit margins when you do have the cost field filled in, so you can kind of be more in tune with what your profits look like and be more in control of your store. Now, we do also have hourly sync. It runs once an hour and it checks for any changes in inventory levels as well as availability and automatically updates your stock quantities. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next video here. So we also have the option to update products overall. You'll see here we submit a request and we receive back all the changes that have been made within the last 24 hours. You'll see how many products came through. So in this case, you see 31 products returned back, changes in weight. So you can see here the back wall tent appears here as our first option, and then the weight changed from 10 pounds to 9.5, and you see all the changes accordingly. Right? This helps keep the most up-to-date information for not only you, but also the end users, right? And again, these fields are getting updated on your products, and you can set this to either automatically run or you can trigger it manually when you have on there. On top of that, you can also look for information specifically regarding a product by getting the SKU and then searching for the information directly on here. So you type in the SKU that you're looking for, you hit search, and you get all the latest information available on WS Display. So this is the same information that's running in between, right? You get its information, SKUs, pricing, weights, package information, turn times, and its current availability in each available warehouse. So you will see the buildable quantity. That's typically what we use to determine our stock. I know in the past there was a bit of issues, obviously, since a lot of the pieces we use are reusable across all the products. Our buildable quantity now kind of takes into account which components are necessary and gives you the total buildable that we have on there. Now, again, because it does have about an hour delay, and if in theory, if another customer is able to place right the full quantity, there is a bit of discrepancy there. But one of the neat things that we added with the Shopify app is if an item is in stock during the sync process, and it notices that by the time it sends the order through, if an item is out of stock, it will automatically update your store's quantity back down to 0, so no further orders will come through, and currently sets that item to out of stock. You can also search an item if you have the internal ID. You can also enter that in. So a few different methods of getting that information. But again, this is all handled through your Shopify admin portal. No need to go into WS Display or contact customer service to try to find some of the information that we have there. Just putting all the information and making it ready, available for you as a store owner, and just limiting that time. So this is what the dashboard looks like here. We'll go ahead and move over here. It gives you a few statuses of when you last synced, how many orders have gone through, how many orders have gone through in the last 60 days. And this is information that is at a quick glance may be useful to you, or simply to see that everything is running as needed, right? So just a quick little overview, as well as any app updates you'll see at the bottom right in case we change anything, and any quick actions that you are used to for your daily operations. Move on. And that kind of concludes the Shopify portion of this webinar. We'll briefly talk on the API for customers that aren't using Shopify or have custom integrations. We do have documentation for directly connecting via REST APIs and hitting those endpoints. So a lot of the functionality you saw demonstrated during this webinar for the Shopify app, underneath it, it's all powered via this API here. So again, if you have access to developers on your team, they'll be familiar with this documentation. They can get information regarding graphics, approvals, uploading graphics, as well as item information, order updates, and then any information regarding, the user, your account, your overall balances, and going through there. So as we develop this project out, so obviously we are in the beta phase, we are looking for feedback regarding the users on here for any features that you may want or need or improve the quality of life of the app as we go forward. So definitely looking for feedback there on what type of data or functionality you'd like out of this. So again, taking really the feedback there on there. So for those interested on joining the beta here, you can easily navigate to the My Account section. Again, we touched on this briefly before. You'll see the app request as well as, and it will lead you through a short, brief description and then a quick form you fill out in there, just some preliminary questions on kind of what your setup looks like, what platforms you use, any of that relevant information. And then we can go ahead and contact you. We'll sit down, we'll do a consultation, we'll kind of see what your setup is looking at and make sure that we choose the right approach for your company. Or again, if there's tweaks needed to kind of fit your use case, that's where those would be made on there. So again, you can go through WS Display once you're logged in, and you'll see those updates there.